How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry Episode 2. The last couple of videos have been very weird for a lot of different reasons, and I have no idea how to explain anything, both in what we've seen and also to try and connect things to a more literal sense. It's been that crazy. Probably crazier than anything we've really seen in Episode 1. I mean, I'm still kind of stuck over there being a huge buff goat man. But anyways, Kanun and Jessica are definitely dead. I don't even think Kanun actually exists anymore. And Beatrice is sort of just running around getting ready for the next killings here. But what was very fascinating was that in the previous video, near the end, Battler and Beatrice, from outside the scope of this story, basically the two looking in, they were having quite the bout, arguing over whether or not you can explain this chapel situation as a closed room environment, and tried to deduce what really happened. And that is when we got introduced to the red text. We be speaking red now, apparently, or at least Beatrice is. So whenever red text comes up, that means that facts are being spoken so hard that I guess I have to accept them as reality because we kind of use that against her. So this is a whole new mechanic that is going to be huge, I'm sure, into figuring out what the fuck is going on for the next few episodes or so. How many is there? 8? Yeah, we got a long ride. Nevertheless, before we actually jump back in, I was told that the grimoire has been updated here in the tips section. What do we got? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you know what? I completely forgot to look at this. I think it was even literally highlighted, or something told me that this was going to pop up here. And I just completely forgot. But duck and green onions are the primary ingredients for a duck stew, and this gave rise to the Japanese phrase, "A duck comes bearing green onions," in which a duck approaches carrying its own seasoning, ready to be eaten. This metaphorically refers to a situation where a series of lucky coincidences benefits you without any effort, or alternatively, where a naive person brings you what you want while unaware of the disadvantage to themselves. Perhaps because of this, a mark, or a sucker in terms of scams, is often called a duck in Japanese. That's actually kind of interesting. I've never heard that before, but that is kind of neat. I don't think this has been updated. It is not. I think this will be updated whenever the cast of characters here have come across the corpse of Jessica, whatever the fuck happened to Kanun, because I'm pretty sure he got teleported out of this realm. Rosa and the rest returned from the chapel to the parlor in the mansion. So many things had happened since early in the morning. Of course, they were high-strung. Well, we've seen this before. Battler and George, who had cried, raged, and let their emotions explode after seeing their parents' tragic bodies, returned to the parlor and sat in the sofas, dazed as though everything up until then had been a lie. Only Maria was completely unchanged and looked just like normal, which was very similar to episode 1, even so Rosa did die. When she wasn't playing pranks, she was basically a kid who played wordlessly by herself. So even if she was dazed, she would probably look just as she did. But as she turned on the TV and flipped through the channels, it looked as though nothing about her had changed from normal. Again, kind of weird that nobody's been picking up on her weird, other personality, quote-unquote. Did Rosa think anything in particular about this attitude, which was clearly different from normal people? She stared at Maria's back as though as though looking at something that wasn't quite heartwarming, excuse me. Okay, you know what? I was going to ask, where the fuck has Kumasawa been? Because she has been completely absent through everything that has happened so far. And I don't think I actually ever brought it up, but in the back of my head, for the past few videos, I've been wondering, where's Kumasawa? Eventually, Kumasawa came to say good morning. Her cheerful manner was clearly out of place, and she couldn't help but be bewildered by the strange atmosphere in the room. Yeah, let's get her up to speed. Then when she heard the details from Goda, she reacted loudly with shock.
もちろん警察には連絡したんですよね。 こういう時はどうすればいいんでしょう。おお、どうすればいいんでしょう。
落ち着いて聞いてください。どうも昨夜の落雷で何かの機械がやられたようなのです。それで電話が使えなくなっておりまして。
じゃあ台風が過ぎるまで警察にも連絡できないんですか。
Maybe Kumasawa's exaggerated surprise was a little comical. Even in this kind of situation, Rosa giggled. Because of that, the fog of confusion that had covered her head cleared up a little.
私がしっかりしなきゃ。マリアだけじゃない。ジョージ君もバタラ君も。今は私が親代わりなんだから。しっかりしなきゃいけない。
I'm so happy that unstable adults have been like the last ones of the parents that have lived, both now in episode 1 and 2. Like, you guys cannot argue that Natsuhi was stable in any sort of way in episode 1 or in general. And here we have Rosa, who we've seen be quite violent to her own child a couple times in a single fucking day. Yeah, I'm not really all that confident in her ability to stay calm here. Rosa had been the youngest sibling, with a large difference in age between her and the others, so she had always been treated as a child. Every time she learned something new, it was something obvious to her siblings, and she had built up a complex, becoming convinced of her own incompetence. So she had developed a passive personality, asking her siblings for advice every time something happened. But she no longer had any brothers or sisters. Yeah, she's literally on her own. She's the last one. She gets the inheritance. You know, if those were the only deaths to come about everything, yeah, well, here's a whole bunch of money. Now, Rosa was the only one of the 4 Ushiromiya siblings left. Furthermore, if Kinzo continued to shut himself away, even in this extraordinary situation, Rosa would have to surpass this crisis as the head's representative.
私はもう子供じゃない。
Rosa slapped her knees lightly and stood up. She must not wait for orders now. She had to start moving herself. She picked up the receiver of the extension phone on the side table. And then she immediately remembered that the phones were down. Genji and Shunun, whom she had sent to see Kinzo, hadn't returned yet. She had a good guess at what was going on. He was probably yelling something nonsensical again and becoming unmanageable. Actually, kind of. But also he is having Shunun actually write down his will, which is odd. His precious chapel had been defiled with blood. That was easy to imagine. She had planned on using the extension phone to call the study, but unfortunately the phones were down. Rosa decided to go to the study directly with her own 2 feet. Her old self would have been too frightened to go see Kinzo, and in fact, if she did meet him, she would probably be blamed somehow and insulted. But this was no time to be frightened. As his true daughter, she had to make him aware of the current situation.
熊沢さん、私はお父様のところへ行ってきます。特にジョージ君とバタラ君の2人をお願いします。きっとだいぶ神経が参ってると思うの。
Yes, slightly.
ええ、それはそうでございましょうとも。本当にお気の毒なことです。何か温かい飲み物でも作ってあげることにいたします。
ありがとう。
Rosa went out into the hallway and headed towards Kinzo's study. The atmosphere in this mansion, which she had spent her younger days in and should have been full of memories, seemed somehow different. She began to climb the stairs in the entrance hall, but just then, in the faint darkness down the stairs behind Rosa's back, something glowed. Oh, hello. It was a single fluttering gold butterfly. It fluttered around and sparkled. That butterfly danced about without a sound. It was only natural. No one can hear the sound of a butterfly's wings beating. And then it came to a rest on Rosa's back as she slowly climbed the stairs. I don't really know what that chime was meant to signify, but Rosa didn't notice it. If someone not in the know saw it, they'd probably assume it was just a single sheet of gold leaf in the shape of a butterfly that had been stuck there. Without noticing a thing, Rosa continued heading towards Kinzo's study. Ah. No, I get you.
さーて次はどう遊ばせてもらおうか
I think I know what's being
まだまだ
implied
駒
here.
はいくらでもある
Okay, so did Natsuhi and Ava ever, like, see anything? You know, whenever they went up to check up on Kinzo? Or no, not Ava. Natsuhi, whenever she went up to go talk with Kinzo before they had found out that there were deaths, and Kinzo said all this wacky shit to Natsuhi to make her feel better, could it be that whatever this was that just got, obviously, besides the obvious that it's a gold butterfly and that connects to Beatrice, could it be possible that whatever that is also latched on to Natsuhi back in episode 1? I think we got to keep an eye on that. In the parlor, which had fallen silent again, the only sound was that of the TV that Maria was watching alone. If there was anything audible besides that, it was the sound of the rain, which had continued on and on since the previous night. Every one of those who had witnessed that unearthly and horrible scene stayed silent, as though praying that the events of that morning had all been a dream. Because Kumasawa alone hadn't seen it, her reaction was slightly different. The silence itself seemed more unbearable to her, and she was anxious to encourage everyone somehow. However, she was aware that she must avoid saying anything careless, and she seemed to be pondering how she could be most helpful. Normally, it would be time for breakfast. However, possibly because something so outrageous had happened, Goda seemed to have forgotten to prepare a meal. Or maybe everyone was so beaten up that they'd forgotten their hunger. Kumasawa wanted to bring up the subject of what they should do for breakfast, but it didn't seem like the right atmosphere, so she really couldn't. That's right. I don't think Goda actually finished the breakfast. She was getting ready to get started and everything, but then, you know, shit happened. But she really was hungry. So she casually made a proposal.
皆さんもいろいろあってお疲れでしょ。こういう時は温かい紅茶で体を温めるのが一番ですよ。
You know, I have a terrible fear that for some odd reason, Kumasawa is going to get blamed for the deaths. But I feel like that's so unlikely. I think it's just an unfortunate situation with her being the only one that kind of got left out of, you know, finding out about all this. Yeah. Of course, she had said the wrong thing. She had reminded Battler and the rest about that horrible and tragic Halloween party in the chapel. Najo hurriedly whispered into Kumasawa's ear. Yeah, honestly, she's not in the wrong. She kind of is, but not intentionally. I feel bad for her.
兄貴もそう思うのか。俺もだぜ。犯人が例の謎の来客かどうかは捨ておいてもだ。
I do find it kind of interesting that they're not jumping onto the idea that it is Beatrice, the 19th person, the sudden VIP guest. I'm sure George is probably a little bit more like wanting to point his finger in Beatrice's direction than Battler is, but it is kind of fascinating that they're taking a little bit more of a calm approach here, which I kind of respect. And that means things are about to get really fucking interesting.
私たちはついついベアトリーチェを名乗る謎の来客を怪しがってしまいますが、まだ犯人と決まったわけではありません。彼女がまだ死体の出ていない犠牲者である可能性も残っている。
Yeah, if we want to take a realistic approach, there you go.
ここに死体がありますなどとアピールする必要はありませんね。
I think there maybe was a reason for it. I remember that something was explained in episode 1, especially with the closed room situation with Ava and Hideyoshi. Something was going on there with that magic circle there. So there has to be I guess, a magical tie-in reason here for this magic circle as well. The same one we saw in episode 1.
そうさ。そういうことなんだ。さらに言えば、あの6人に あんなむごたらしいことをするだけの手間をかけられたなら、6人の死体を発見不能な場所に隠すことだって可能だったはず。
同感だね。あの残酷なハロウィンパーティーは多分死んだ人たちに向けられたものじゃない。
Oh yeah, of course.
やがて発見する僕たちへ向けたものなんだよ。魔法陣はそのためのアピールだと言い切れるだろうね。
The thing is that we know it's Beatrice. At the end of the day, we know that it is her, you know, showing off her magic and everything, because that's how the story has to be told. It's supposed to be told in a way that shows off that, yes, magic was involved in the killings here. But also, as we've seen from a couple of videos ago, Beatrice likes to mock others. She likes to poke fun and see humans, you know, scramble and try to, you know, figure shit out in their own way, and to see their emotions flare up, i.e. Jessica. That's just the cruel way that she acts
犯人
in.
はこの島からしばらく逃げられないことを知っている。
ベアトリーチ様はお部屋におられませんでした。特に部屋が荒らされていた様子もありませんし。
No, but it did seem used, right,
お
Goda?
嬢様がだいぶ荒らしてしまいましたが。
So she was there.
そういや、ジェシカは
Oh, let's go find Jessica.
カノンさんが様子を見てくれています。多分お嬢様のお部屋におられるでしょう。
よくないね。犯人は間違いなくまだこの島にいる。
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking this in the back of my head as well. I mean, if we didn't know who the killer was, if we didn't see all this extra stuff in regards to Beatrice, you know, doing her supposedly magical stuff, then yeah, I would probably be screaming right now, hey, we've got two people alone right now.
今の状況下で少人数で孤立することはそれほどいいことだとは思わない。
それはどういう意味ですか？まさか犯人は私たち全員を殺すつもりだとおっしゃるんですか？
Well, at least 13 of us.
一族老頭を皆殺しにする。
それは本当ですか？私にも読ませていただいてよろしいですか？
Oh yeah, I don't think Goda was there whenever they got the letter. As they read the witch's letter, Goda, Kumasawa, and Nanjo's faces grew even paler than they had been. Kumasawa can no longer hide her shaking.
そうか、それでかな。覚えてるかい？礼拝堂のテーブルの上。
Oh yeah, the
黄金の
gold.
インゴットが3つあった
Three
ね。
of them actually. Yeah, that was a little
あれ
surprising.
だけでも相当な価値があるよ。あれはまさに黄金伝説は実在することを証明してるんじゃないかな。
I mean, I think we have enough evidence to assume that yes, this epitaph definitely leads to something. One gold bar was found in possession of Kraus, and he showed that off to Natsuhi in episode 1. We can say that that's a constant thing. That is a factual event that'll carry on forward because he had that gold bar for who knows how long. Here in episode 2, more gold bars were set up, and they look exactly the same as the one that Kraus had. I don't know what to think of all that, but I would like to assume that, that everything does tie together, that Kinzo's story is true to a degree, that there is actual gold. Like gold in that raw
お待ち
form.
ください。今黄金が3つとおっしゃいましたか？
That is correct.
ああ、確かに
What do you know,
3つは
Kumasawa?
積み上げてあったぜ。それが何だってんだ。
私
Oh,
旦那様
Here we
が
go.
お話になっているのを
We're
聞いた
connecting
ことが
things
あるんです。
together.
ええ、聞いただけでございますよ。
which means you were, just listening in.
別にこっそりお話に聞き耳を立てていたわけで
We
はご
get
ざ
it,
いませんと
Kumasawa.
も。
We get it.
ええ、
Yes, you did this on purpose.
今
Go
は気
on.
にしないぜ。おいおい、どこから出てきたんだよ。多すぎるぜ。
That means that there's somewhere accessible.
こうは考えられませんか。他の親族の方もそれぞれ見つけておられて、それを
No.
一つずつ
Well-
持ちおられたとか。
I don't know. I don't think so. Would Rosa, really be, bringing along a gold bar? I mean, there were no signs of that. And, she and Maria, I don't know with how much luggage really everybody came with, but I don't know about all that.
いや、 私はそうは思いません。
Why would they bring gold here?
親族の皆さんがお屋敷に来られた時、私は皆さんのお荷物を預からせてもらっています。その時、不審な重さは感じませんでした。
Oh, there we
あれ
go.
は10キロくらいはあったと思う。そんな重さが荷物に入っていたら僕だって気づくよ。でもそんな雰囲気はなかった。
うちも同じだぜ。せいぜい着替えと常備薬、キリエさんの化粧道具、そんなもんだったと思う。ローザおばさんの荷物も軽そうに見えたぜ。
となるとその3つ積まれた金塊は彼らあるいは僕らに示されたものということになるね。
I'm pretty sure it's just to show off that yes, the epitaph, this whole big ass riddle that we have to solve here in order to save everybody, is real. That there's a actual sense of reality here.
黄金伝説は間違
Which
い
is
な
kinda
く
funny.
存在する。幻想なんかじゃない。それを暴いてみろと。
Yeah, there we go.
どうして黄金が積めるんだ。まるで犯人はもう自分だけは黄金を見つけていて、
Oh, I'm sure she knows exactly where the gold is.
お前らも
Like I
見つけ
said,
てみ
it's
ろ
somewhere
って言ってる
accessible.
みたいに見える
It
じゃん
has to be. That or she just came up with more fucking gold.
犯人もクラウスおじさんのようにその3本を手に入れ黄金伝説を確信し残りを僕らに探させようとしている。
チェス盤に駒がちっとも並ばねえ。犯人が何を企んでいて何をしたいのか何をさせたいのかがさっぱりだ。無駄なのか、何を考えても。今の時点では。
I think Battler here in the story should listen to a bit of Battler from outside the story. You know, just kind of roll with the information we have now. Don't try to look for an answer right now. We need more clues. We need more information. Which we kind of got that by, you know, that red text mechanic being introduced to us. But as things were, I mean, all you could do is just come up with guesses. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we can do here too, but it's really all about just waiting and seeing as other events occur to try and piece shit together. Maria suddenly laughed in a creepy voice. I thought she had been concentrating on the TV, but apparently she had been listening in too. Without turning away from the TV, she very simply told us what we were forgetting.
ベアトリーチェは黄金が欲しいなんて一言も言ってないよ。ベアトリーチェは碑文の謎をみんなが解けるか解けないか、どうせ無理だろうって思ってるに違いないけどね。
Hey, you know, fun question here, a little off topic, but how is it that we have TV reception here, but we don't have, like, the radio waves or radio connection or whatever that's necessary in order to get in contact with the police?
マリアには
Like, I get it.
それが解けるってのか。
It's a little bit of a different situation. These are probably cable TVs, antennas and shit. Radios are a little different than that.
知らない。だってマリアは黄金鏡へ連れてってもらうんだもん。ベアトリーチェの邪魔なんかしないよ。あ、痛い。
Damn, she's getting smacked a lot
どう
here
や
in
ら
this
これ以上
episode.
知るにはマリアに話を聞くほかないようだな。マリア、聞かせてもらうぜ。ベアトリーチェってのは何者だ。何を企んでるんだ。
ベアトリーチェはね、魔女なの。不思議な力で何でもできる。
Strange powers, alright.
魔法の力で何でもできる。黄金も生み出せるし、パンも生み出せる。もちろんお菓子だって生み出せるよ。見たでしょ？
Yeah, if we want to go with the magical direction here, I mean, reality is that she already had gold bars with her. That, you know, she had found, she knows where they're stashed away, whatever. But also, wait, what am I trying to say? I forgot. No, wait. Yeah, she can create gold. Magic, you know? Magic can create anything. She recreated Maria's candy. All this candy and shit was probably created by magic as well. So she probably just created the gold bars in order to egg everybody on. There's also that avenue here. The fuck just happened? At that time, everyone jumped at the sound of a door being slammed shut. Oh, hello everybody. When we turned around, we saw that Rosa had suddenly returned, bringing Genji and Shannon. Then she rapidly approached Maria, her heels squeaking, and hit her on the cheek.
そんな話はやめなさい。バトラ君たちが気を悪くするでしょ。
Without waiting for a response, she hit Maria's cheek once more. Everyone could only stand there stunned, probably for the ooh. Yeah, there we go.
はいわ。
And she's doing it again. She mercilessly hit Maria's cheek again. Excuse me, maybe Maria didn't feel like resisting after being hit twice. She weakly said yes.
ローザさん、そこまでひどくすることはない。
Oh, don't worry, Nanjo. Yeah, you get used to this sort of treatment on Maria from her own mother.
娘に対する教育です。口は挟まないでいただきます。
The atmosphere around Rosa, with Genji and Shunun standing at attention behind her, was somehow cold and yet dignified, completely different from how she had seemed before she left. She was holding something that looked like a gun. Oh, fuck. Oh, here we go again. I could not imagine that she'd be holding a toy in this situation.
ローザおばさん、それは。
God damn it. So where's Kinzo?
このような事態ですので、特別に借りてきました。みんなだって分かってるはず。犯人はまだ近くにいるのですから、何があるか分からない。
同感です。犯人が何を企んでいるかを探るよりも、僕たちは身の安全を先に考えた方がいいかもしれない。
お父様はご無事でしたが、突然の出来事に多少取り乱していました。
I kind of doubt that. You know, I would have liked to see, you know, a little bit more of, or hear a little bit more about Kinzo's past, what he was wanting to put down for his will, but we kind of cut away from that scene.
幸いにも部屋からは出ないと言っていますので安全でしょう。
I don't know. I actually kind of doubt that because remember what I said earlier, that little butterfly, what if that was a similar situation as to when Natsuhi went up into Kinzo's study back in episode 1?
あと、私たちは極力同じ場所に集まるべきです。
同感だぜ。相手がどこに潜んでいるのかもわからねえし、何しろ一人という保証もねえんだ。
Even though I'd said it myself, I shivered. That's right. Could a single person kill 6 people and set up such a horrible scene all alone? Isn't it natural to assume that this crime was carried out by multiple culprits?
ローザさんに同感です。私たちは一ところに集まるのがいいでしょうな。
ええ、私もそれが良いと思いますよ。
お嬢様たちももうそろそろこちらへお呼びした方がいいかもしれません。
Yeah, let's go find Jessica.
そうだね。もう降りてきてもらおう。
George Aniki tried to grab the extension phone, but Goto-san shook his head. You know, habit and all. That's right, the phones are down right now, aren't they?
俺と何人かで行ってこよう。ジョージの兄貴に。ゴーダさんも来てくれれば十分だろ。
いいえ、みんなで一緒に行きましょう。狼と羊のパズルなのよ。
Okay. I guess we'll fucking look at the grimoire now. That was a little obvious. Oh, wait. No, it's not in here. That chime was for fucking nothing. That was just to spook me. Fuck you, game. I never know when to look into the fucking tips, man.
狼と羊のパズル？
おお、マリア持ってるよ。見せてあげる。
マリア、テレビを消しなさい。ゲンジさん、ジェシカちゃんの部屋を教えてください。みんなで行きましょう。
Yeah, let's go.
はい、ご案内いたします。
さあみんな、一緒に行動するわよ。私の指示に従って。
We stood up. Maria alone looked like she had some regrets about the TV, but she decided to go along with everyone for now and got up. Oh, I just love how there's a fucking gun in this equation again.
戻りが遅いから少し心配してたよ。
ご心配をおかけしました。親方様より筆行のご命令があったもので。
筆行？
シャノ。
すみません。
Yeah, I guess they gotta keep that on the down low. Okay, wait. Before we climb these lovely stairs... No, nothing changed here. What was that chime? Forgive me for my, you know, ridiculous ignorance here as we continue along with this game and all that, but I guess I'm just really failing when it comes to the little sound effects. I did learn, thanks to the comments, that little laughter, I guess, is just kind of left in from the early renditions of this game, because back then, similarly to Higurashi, not only did the game look drastically different, and that's a bit of an understatement, it didn't have any voice acting, so there were sound effects in place of some events, such as when they wanted to do a little bit of a Beatrice witch cackle or something like that. And then I guess the sound of the whatever is going on when somebody is dying, as we heard, I think in the last video with both Jessica and Kanun, those characters are the stakes. And I guess they're bouncing around all over the room, and that's what the noise is, I guess. Again, thank you to the comments. We headed for Jessica's room with the armed Aunt Rosa and Genji-san in the lead. Not sure what that gun's gonna do except spook the rest of us. Jessica and Kanun-kun were a boy and a girl of about the same age. It'd sure be a shame if we barged in on them at a bad time, or at least that's what we'd be joking about normally. However, Aunt Rosa was on edge, constantly exuding a sense of tension. So it definitely wasn't the sort of atmosphere for careless remarks like that.
ほら、遅れないで。みんな一緒に行動するの。犯人はいつどこから飛びかかってくるかわからないのよ。
No, maybe Aunt Rosa's attitude was more appropriate. Since grandfather hadn't come down, Aunt Rosa was our leader. This wasn't a situation where she could smile like she always did. And Aunt Rosa was a mother too. She probably also thought that if she didn't get a hold of herself, some harm might befall her beloved daughter. The culprit had killed 6 of our parents at once. The method they had used was unknown, but there was a good chance that this opponent could take down a large number of people in a flash. Yeah. Would that be with weapons or with numbers? Or with the magic of a witch? In any case, I couldn't think of any reason why it would be okay to let our guards down. The rest of us had better take much, much greater care, just like Aunt Rosa. Aunt Rosa spoke in a sharp voice. Wondering what this was all about, we peered forwards and immediately realized the reason. Oh, okay. So if I remember correctly, this was the same magic circle that we saw on the door for Aunt, it was Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi. I don't know why I'm calling them Aunt and Uncle, but back in episode 1, yes, this was the magic circle that we saw. Goto-san and Genji-san approached the door. Beyond this door was probably Jessica's room. So actually what's very interesting here is that magic circle, I'm pretty sure the reasoning for this one specifically, if I remember what was told to us in the tea party of episode 1, what that magic circle is supposed to, I guess it's supposed to get through to the room because it was a fully closed off and locked away room. There was no other way to get in. But with the magic circle, well, you know, reality is nothing. Magic is your door.
そのようです。書かれて、まだ時間がそう経っていないように見えます。
なんだありゃ、また魔法陣かよ。
月の一の魔法陣だね。赤の扉を開く力がある。
I was wondering when she was going to spring up and inform us. Drawn on the door to Jessica's room was the same kind of creepy scribble that had been drawn on the door to the chapel. That strange pattern must have had some occult meaning. But it didn't matter what that meaning was. We were worried about whether those two were okay.
そんなことはどうでもいいよ。ジェシカちゃんとカノン君は無事なの。
嫌な予感がしますな。早くジェシカさんたちを連れて下に降りましょう。
You know, this is so similar, actually, to them finding out about Ava and Hideyoshi. Goto-san knocked violently and yelled, but there was no answer. He gripped the doorknob with a clatter, but the lock just resisted him.
ローザ様、鍵がかかっているようです。
仕方ないわ。開けてください。
Genji nodded, and Goto quickly unlocked the door with the master key. In the back of my mind, horrible images floated up and disappeared one after another. A magic circle had been drawn on the door to the chapel. behind that lay 6 corpses. So if there's a magic circle drawn on the door to Jessica's room, then beyond it, it must be... Oh, what are we gonna see here? But before the reveal, I was gonna mention that, yeah, this room wasn't initially locked, was it? There were no indications whenever Jessica and Kanun came to this room that it had ever been locked. So something else happened afterwards.
どうしたの？いたの？
ジェシカ、どうした？
It was truly heartless. The expression on Goto-san's face and his cry as he opened the door prepared us for the brutal fate that Jessica had met even before we saw her. Everyone rushed into Jessica's room at once. That scene told everyone that their worst fears were spot on. Oh, Jesus. I was not fucking expecting that, actually. I was not expecting them to actually just straight up show the corpse. Okay, cool. I mean, they kind of did for Ava and Hideyoshi as well, but this is just there. Like, they're not sugarcoating this at all whatsoever. This is just it. Oh, yep, here we go. Inside the room, which seemed elegant for the bedroom of one so young, Jessica lay crumpled on the ground. Honestly, I can hear that chime just fine, that little sound effect, and I know what that means. Found in her own room in the mansion with a weapon shaped like a stake having been rammed into her back. At the very end, she got to be with the person she loved. She must have been happy. Ha ha ha. There was a large pool of blood on the floor, and there was a knife or something sticking deep into her back. Was it a knife? There was a design on the handle that just had to symbolize something demonic. It had to be a weapon, maybe, with some kind of occult meaning. I actually think I have to censor that if I want to avoid my video being demonetized, so if I end up doing that, I apologize, but I feel like that is the most graphic that we've seen, and obviously not thumbnail material, not in this case, but yeah, that was... I'm a little surprised, but have we seen anything more graphic yet? I mean, it's always been like very specifically angled shots, like away from all the major damage, such as what we saw whenever we got to the chapel. I think we only saw a hand. Like, no, that's nothing too terrible. That's nothing shocking. But this one, no, that's quite shocking. Yeah, I'm not really a expert on being impaled. But I think if you get stabbed, well, in the back, that's really gonna fucking suck based on wherever they stab, because that shit can definitely do some permanent damage. But it depends on how far they go in with the impalement. I'm assuming that this was pretty goddamn deep if it actually punctured the lung, but if it's just like a little teeny tiny knife and you get fucking shanked in the back, I think you'd be able to live just fine and there'd be no, like, organ damage, maybe? Any doctors in the comments want to, you know, prove me wrong?
島からは逃げられない以上、犯人は必ず近くにいたんだ。ならどうしてすぐに警戒しなかったんだ。甘えてた。犯人ってやつは罪を犯したらこそこそと逃げて隠れてるもんだと思い込んでた。
あの時の僕たちは動転してた。ジェシカちゃんが怒りに身を任せて駆け出すのも仕方がないことだと思ってた。
No, it could have been helped. It happens very similarly in episode 1 too, and we were able to kind of, you know, calm her down a little bit.
止めるべきだった。
幸田さん、どうしてジェシカちゃんたちを放ってきちゃったの？
Oh, don't blame Goda. Honestly, like, can you really blame him?
あなたが一緒にいてくれたらこんなことには。
いえ、それは私は危険ですから戻りましょうと言いました。ただお嬢様は一人になりたいと申しまして、カノンさんが自分に任せてほしいと言いまして、それを言ったら、カノンさんはどこへ？
Oh yeah, he's not here.
そうだ。
Oh, well, hold on. So I guess he's missing then. Yeah, they have him grayed out. Missing. The witch erased his corpse for fun. That alone threw them into chaos. If the human world is what it... If the human world is what is, then what is not is undoubtedly God damn, I am so fucking tired for this. Fantasy depicts what they themselves fear. Well, we are not finding Kanon for the rest of this episode.
カノン君は一体
Yeah, good question, actually. That's it, George. That is a damn good question. I have no idea. He, again, was carrying a magical sword deep within. I guess maybe all the servants have that. Maybe Kumasawa's rocking a crazy guitar fucking, shaped sword or something. I don't know. But he summoned this blade and went to battle against a goat demon. I have no idea what happened to Conan, George. I really don't. He's been having a wild ride this fine day.
カノン君どこに？
カノンさんはお嬢様と一緒にいたはずです。一体どこに？
まさかやられたんじゃないだろうな。
Well, that can maybe point fingers in Conan's direction.
静かに。この部屋に誰か隠れているかもしれない。ベッドの下やクローゼットなどを探して。
Well, somebody's a little demanding when they have a gun. There was a chance that Kanun-kun's corpse had been pushed away somewhere. At Rosa-san's order, everyone searched throughout the room together. There wasn't a single human hiding anywhere.
どこにもないぜ。
Yeah, how do we explain all this crazy stuff that's been going on with Kanun and Jessica? Mostly Kanun, but how the hell do we connect all of that to a sense of reality? Especially with him apparently not existing anymore.
まさか犯人に連れ出されたか。なら早く探し出して助けないと。もたもたしてるとやばいことになるかもしれねえぞ。ローザおばさん、屋敷内を捜索しよう。犯人を探そう。カノン君を助け出そう。
静かに。
Okay, all right. When Aunt Rosa yelled at us, we fell instantly silent. She was probably contemplating something. However, what in the world could that be? Aunt Rosa walked around the room as though looking for something, or as though she was collecting her thoughts. And? Anything coming of that? It's just okay. Then she found something on the side table by the bed and picked it up.
誰かわかる人。これは何の鍵かしら。
Aunt Rosa showed everyone a key with a cute mascot attached to it. Judging from its cute appearance, I didn't doubt that it was Jessica's key, but I had no way of knowing for sure.
おそらくこの部屋のお嬢様のお部屋の鍵でしょう。
Oh, wait a minute. So, how is the room locked? I'm assuming that none of these doors have a lock from the inside little twist with the knob. So, the key was inside the room that it locked. Or that was locked. And after hearing that, Aunt Rosa made a point of going outside the door and checking. Without a doubt, it was the key to this room.
どうしてこんなところに置いてあるのかしら。普通、大事な鍵はポケットとかにしまわないかしら。
It's there because it's trying to point out what I just, had to try to explain. This is difficult, and this is... And yet the room was locked. Lovely bit of information. But no, this is turning out to be yet another closed room situation, and I have no idea how we can properly think about this one other than Beatrice locked it and disappeared, which does not help our realm of proper reasoning argument here.
ただ学校に行かれる時だけは旦那様などに勝手に部屋を見られたくないと言って施錠されていたようですが。
なるほど。登校してるわけじゃないから、ジェシカちゃんがここに鍵を置くのは自然なこと。この扉を開けられる鍵はいくつあるの？
Yep, there we go. There we fucking go. Knew it.
あなたたちのマスターキーでは開けられないの？
開けられます。
Oh, okay.
マスターキーは何本あるの？
一本ずつ持つのみです。それ以外は存在しません。
Oh, here we fucking go, man. Here we go.
ちょいと待て。確か前回のゲームじゃマスターキーには余剰分があるって話じゃなかったのか。
それについてだがな。
Oh, give me the red text.
所在不明のマスターキーが何本もあっては、そこを崩す一手を打たせてもらうこと
Oh,
にし
yeah?
た。
What do you got up your sleeve this time around?
設定を変更する。 マスターキーは使用人たちがそれぞれ持つ1本のみ。
Okay, so that is fact. It's exactly as they were saying here, especially Genji. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, well, that makes things a little bit more interesting. And that's going to point some fingers at the fucking servants now. Wait a minute, this may have just completely changed the dynamic here right now.
それよりこれはどういう手なんだ。ローザおばさんは何を言っているんだ。
さあな、話に耳を傾けてみるがよかろう。
Yeah, we'll get back to all that arguing later.
ありがとう。状況が整理できたわ。
Oh, do you?
そしてジェシカちゃんを襲った
Oh
犯人、
no.
あるいはその一味の一人を特定できたわ。
Oh no. Yep. Either one of the servants or maybe multiple of them, if not all of them that are still alive here, are going to get they're going to get the gun pointed at them. Basically, they're going to be the prime suspects right now, which is so unfair. And I feel like this is also a repeat of what we saw in episode 1. It is so damn unfair to the servants. I know I'm a little, well, no, I'm not going to say I'm early. I've recorded enough. Kind of. Maybe. I'm tired. So, yeah. My commentary could have been a little better, but alas, I just wanted to get a little bit of that Umineko in before I went to bed. I think you guys would understand. No, this was pretty good, and I'm actually excited to see how things are going to go down. This definitely reminds me of the screaming of back and forth, arguing or whatever with Natsuhi and Ava. I feel like that's bound to pop up in a different way here. Luckily, Ava's not around, so it's already going to be a whole lot better. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.